Hey y'all, it's Nancy the Handy Scandy here for Whimsy Stamps. Thanks for joining me again today. We are going to be doing another two-for situation, if you will. Someone had asked me to show how I use the Lindy's Magicals as watercolor, so that's what we're going to do today. Now that beautiful sunflower background stamp is the star of the show. 100% the star of the show. So I get it all laid down. I've got my Canson XL watercolor card cut down. It's probably about a 4 by 4. Get everything lined up, and then I realize I need to pull that foam piece out. I do that almost every time I stamp with a rubber stamp. So anyway, that's just what I do. Got it laid down again, got everything in place, all lined up. I used my anti-static powder. You can see the bag there up in the corner, and I have a little binder clip on it to hold it. And then I'm using my Versamark sticky embossing ink to stamp it up. Now you have to stamp a couple times. Now again, this is watercolor card and it's very textured, so it can be difficult to get a full image, especially something as detailed as this watercolor or this sunflower. So I stamped it actually 2 or 3 times, and I'm using my Lindy's embossing powder. I'm trying to find the name of it. I don't see the name of it, but it is black. I don't know if it has some catchy name or not, but anyway, it's black. And then I heat it up with my embossing gun, and it's still, you can see there are still many places that the powder was missing, that it just blew right off, to be honest. So the magic of the Misty, I stuck it back in. I had to figure out how it was aligned, but you can see that I have some double stamping, and I'm just going to wipe that powder off. It's not a big deal because nothing is permanent yet. So I went ahead and heated it up with my heat tool again, got everything nice and melty. It is not as clean in terms of the embossing as the first round was, but that's okay. I'm not mad about it. We're going to roll with it. So I have this tiny little palette. I think it's just from Michael's. I'm putting a light wash or an undercoat of yellow. Now the colors that I'm using of the Lindy's Magicals, I have the Sparkling Sunset, which is what I'm using here. And I also have Toadstool Taupe. Those two are from the Enchanted Forest combo pack. Then I also have Yesteryear Yellow and Bandolier Brown, which is from Steampunk Soiree. And then for my kind of rusty orangey red, I have Red Hot Poker Orange, and that's from the Autumn Leaves collection. So again, just laying down this undercoat, if you will, just trying to get some color down. And then I go back in. First I want to see what all my colors look like mixed in water. And you could see that excuse me, I just sprinkled out the tiniest little bit of powder. It does not take much, y'all. It goes so far. And then I just dribbled a little bit of water into each well, because this will, even though there's just that tiny little bit, and I actually end up doing 2 sunflowers, there will still be pigment left over. So going back to my watercoloring, and I'm going to put this to music here in a bit because I do 2 flowers and it's really down and dirty, guys. I don't strive for perfection with this any more than I do with anything else. The artistry does all the work. I mean, it's beautiful, beautiful images. So just lay down that undercoat, and then I add in some deeper colors just to add some depth, some dimension, to kind of differentiate between the layers, if you will. I bring in some browns and some of those darker colors just to kind of show where the background is, maybe where there's some layer of the petals and that kind of thing. And I am just down and dirty, again, down and dirty, laying down the pigment in the middle. Now let me say, water is your friend. Water is probably my most used tool in my craft room, especially when I'm watercoloring. You want to thin your color down or thin your paint down? You use water. You want to make it spread? You use water. You want to clean something? You use water. Just use a lot of water. Now on my other one, I have a little too much of the mica. Can there ever be too much shimmer? Yes. Again, I use water. I use water. You need something stuck and you need to move it around, add water. I think you get it. Use your water. But anyway, I am just going to let this finish to music, and when I bring on the second panel, it's still this same image. I just don't heat emboss it. I stamp it on Bristol Smooth with some Memento Tuxedo Black, and it is waterproof ink, and then I just essentially do the same painting on that one. So let's just finish the process, and if I have something to say between now and the end, I will pop in and say it. But if you guys have any questions, please by all means drop them downstairs in the comments, and I will do my best to answer you, okay? You know I love to engage with you down there. All right, here we go. Couple things to keep in mind. I do have this sped up probably ×5, so this was much faster on screen than it was in real life. Also, I cut out some of it, so have realistic expectations, right? No matter what your project is, no matter what your medium, no matter what, have realistic expectations. When you're watching a video, we cut out our mistakes, we cut out some of the process, we speed things up, and it's not to be phony or, you know, to present something in a different way than it really was, but it's to be mindful and respectful of your time, right? This was 2 hours. You're not going to sit and watch 2 hours of my process. So yeah, just have realistic expectations and be kind to you, and be kind to the creators that you're watching as well, because sometimes whatever we're doing just may not be your cup of tea, or you may have a different way of doing it. That doesn't mean anything is wrong. It's just different. So you can see that on the top left, I have already fussy cut out the heat embossed one. I had to add my splatters. I used, it is Amsterdam acrylic ink in the color titanium white. I just squeezed a little onto my desk, added some water to thin it out a little bit, and of course you saw me do the splatters. And here I have my Inkonic, they're like a micro pen from Arteza, and I'm using the black right now to add some definition, just going along that jig-jaggedy edge of the flower head to make some definition and some detail, if you will. And I used black for that. I also went in with a light yellow, and I did that on the heat embossed panel as well, just to add some more of that light, because it was really, both of them are kind of dark, and I was wanting some of that lighter yellow and some orange as well. So I was able to get that look with those Inkonic pens. And you can see I have everything fussy cut out. Here I am using that excess pigment to just color up a panel that I'm going to use to cut out the words shine for both cards. And here are the inside of my cards, if you can believe it. I stamped on the inside of my cards. I love this set from Whimsy. It is, let me see if I can tell you the name of it, Beaucoup Bouquet Sentiments. And I used smell the flowers and feel the sun, let your spirit smell the flowers and feel the sun and let your spirit fly. And the other one says, your smile is like sunshine on a cloudy day. Both I thought were very appropriate for sunflower cards, and I just love them. So you can see that I'm doing something a little unexpected here. I am using some holiday cardstock, if you will. It is the Gilded Holiday 6x6 pattern paper pack, and I've pulled out 2 different designs, and they will coordinate with the panels that I've already created. So the panels that I did create, I'm using kind of a creamy ecru cardstock, and I stamped down the vintage script background stamp, and then I embossed that with the Daisies Slimline embossing folder, and I trimmed it down, and then I did it twice, and then the one top left I used Warm Buff ink from Pink Fresh, and the one on the right that I'm about to adhere down, that is the Dough ink from Pink Fresh Studio. I just wanted one to be a little bit lighter than the other and one a little bit darker, because of course the one that's on the Bristol Smooth paper is just a little bit lighter than this one than the other one with the heat embossing, because it has all of that black and it's really heavy. So I just wanted a little bit darker background, and of course that's the one that I also use the darker of the pattern paper on. So I adhere everything down just using a combination of liquid glue. I have my Elaine's Tacky Glue. I also have my Barely Arts glue, and I have a tape runner. I'm using a little bit of everything. But my flowers are on double-sided foam tape, and you can see that I also adhered down a very, very thin strip of gold foiled cardstock to the right of each panel. And of course I put down my word shine, and I use a white gel pen, you can see, to add some highlights to the words. And then of course I use the beautiful Gala mixture of the pearls and diamonds from This Calls for Confetti, and I do that to add like the little seeds on the flower heads, as well as just some pretty pearls just kind of where I felt like I wanted them. And then of course I added that little bit of twine trim to the top, just to add another little rustic piece, because I'm all about the grungy and the elegant, and kind of combining those together. So we've got some bling, we've got some grunge with the twine, and then all the splatter, and that is it. Whew. Thank you guys for joining me here. I pray that you would like and subscribe. Definitely leave me a comment downstairs. Meet us over on Facebook, Pinterest, and Instagram, and you can use any of the links downstairs to hop over to the Whimsy store if you are interested. And until next time, y'all, this is Nancy, the Handy Scandy for Whimsy Stamps. Mwah! I'm out.